Highlight here. This is my Facebreaker and Coiling Whisper Sunder Totems Juggernaut. It has around 40 to 50 million DPS and can reach up to 70 million with buffs up, with great recovery and OK max hits. It can pretty much do most content, including all 7 Ubers, at a surprisingly cheap budget. For the story of this build, I wanted an off-meta build that could utilize a headhunter, which usually means physical builds, that could also make use a lot of the new techs in the new Mercenaries of Chartis League. The Facebreaker Rallying Cry Merc tech makes physical damage extremely easy to get, the new Coiling Whisper Ring makes attack speed super easy to get, and Wilma's Requital scales that attack speed even further, completely solving our offense. Because of Wilma's Requital, we are limited to proxies for dealing damage, so I decided on a Consecrated Path of Endurance Totem build. However, Consecrated Path Totems don't really inherit your endurance charges when they spawn, which makes that build dead on arrival. The next best skill numerically is Sunder, so I decided to keep going with that even if Jug does not synergize with Sunder as much. Still, we make use of the ascendancy to solve a lot of our offensive and defensive problems. Because our build uses a lot of uniques and we're not working on a mage blood budget, we have to solve our resistances somehow. And taking Chieftain Sion, Sun's Roar node is extremely high value. It enables Ancestor Cry to solve our res, Enduring Cry for endurance charges, which are buffed by Juggernaut, and it also enables the Forbidden Rite plus Vengeful Cry tech to get permanent rage, at the cost of having to piano every like 8 or 9 seconds. This build can't really do a lot of T17 mods and it has to use like a strict regex filter. It's also not very tanky, you'll get one shot by T17 bosses and Ubers sometimes. And DPS uptime can feel pretty bad if the boss teleports and your totems will die a lot and your merc will just randomly not cast Rallying Cry. Still, the build feels really nice during mapping and it will feel even better as I put more into the build's defenses. The core of the build revolves around a few uniques. We have the Coiling Whisper Ring to guarantee permanent Soul Eater, which we get from a Blade Faller Charter setup, which gives us 225 attack speed. We also have Wilma's Requital to convert 225 cast speed from Soul Eater into attack speed as well, for a total of 450. Next we have a Facebreaker with as much more physical damage as possible, and then we combine that with a Swiftblade Mercenary. The build itself uses Dawn Strider so that we could use totems to actually deal damage with Wilma's Requital. Defensively, we have really good recovery from Defiance of Destiny, a life and block shield, and then some additional leech from our totems. Our shield also has +1 to maximum number of summoned totems, which would bring us up to 5 plus multiple totem support. Our other defensive layers are some armor, max res from Ancestor Cry, as you can see here, and then a lot of regen from Enduring Cry, and we have 8 endurance charges for a lot of phys and elemental mitigation. For a mercenary, we do have just the usual. I have here this really great axe that I got really lucky crafting. It only cost me like 100 chaos and bases, 500 alts, and some dust in the recombinator. And then the rest is like standard merc gear. You have a Perkles for lucky damage, Counts Binding for better phys mitigation, and then the rest of the gear is Warcry buff effect or Pride effect. We have a Bet Stealer here to get Warcry recovery because I don't have like a good Rallying Cry merc. It just has like +1 cooldown use, and then we also have like a Curse on hit ring for vulnerability. For the belt, you could really slap whatever here. You could um, I for bossing I just put a Bear's Girdle, but really you could just do whatever you want, like Stitch and Vice. Rislata's Coil is probably the best offensively. For passive 3, we're Juggernaut. We are just taking the accuracy node and it's just better endurance charges. For your force node, you can do whatever you want. You could take Unyielding for just some extra damage. It's only around 10%, which is not that great for an ascendancy, but it's there if you want it. I took Unstoppable for some QOL. You could also take Unbreakable for some like a lot better physical max hit. For the pageantry, we have glancing blows to cap our block since we don't have a lot of points to spend there. I think it's also okay to get because we get so much recovery when we get hit from life unblock as well as Defiance of Destiny. Now, because we don't have like the items to get attributes as well, I opted to use Supreme Ostentation just to like skip that problem entirely. We also have these like really efficient damage nodes in these two nodes right here, and then the rest is like warcry effect, a lot of life, and importantly, we pass towards precise technique since we don't have, we're not going crit. Because we're supreme ostentation, we can use these dex nodes to just get as much accuracy as possible. Um, we use this along with some accuracy in the rings and some from the abyss jewels here and here to get like 5k accuracy. You could also technically take this +1 frenzy node as the mercenary has like can give you frenzy charges, but I don't really like it's not really like 100% uptime, so I didn't bother. The build itself is like really flexible if you have a big budget. Like I said before, you could use Progenesis here. If you want to be like unkillable, you could get that and as Valen. You'd lose some damage, but you probably won't miss the extra damage if you just don't die. Or you could like switch Defiance for some offensive amulet. Now there's some weird things that you have to think about while you're playing this build. Even though we're using clarity, our mana regen sucks, so you can't really spam your totems. So you have to wait a bit between placing totems, which is, in my experience, it's not that bad, but it's just something that you have to like be mindful of. Because of the mana regen issue, you do have to use life tap on your warcries because otherwise you just run out constantly. You also can put it on your frostblink. I don't think it's necessary. You can put like a molten shell here or an infernal cry for more damage, but it's just here because it's just quality of life. And also, you need to have like at at most like around 60 chaos res to like use the vengeful cry tech. Otherwise, you won't get the savage hit that you need. The exact amount depends on your life, but as long as you're hitting the savage hit, it should be good. Third thing is that your totems will die a lot, as I mentioned before, and especially the Dawn Strider's node, which damage from hits is taken from your totems before you. It will make your totems die more. You just have to move away from mobs, even if you can face tank them technically. So this is the POB. It's using like very conservative estimates. It's going to assume like you only have like 60 buff effect from your gear, which is like lesser eldritch prefixes and less than ideal anoints. And you have this option here if you have like a really expensive merc and the perfect gems for the rallying cry, and then just some extra stuff here like pride effect and then counts binding if you want. This is the modifier for the rune graft because POB doesn't calculate properly. So this is where you would put your like the rune graft that gives you 20% increased effective gloves. But yeah, that's a build. It's a bit clunky, but it works, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.